Good morning. All right, so inside day yesterday, nothing much changed. Beginning to build a trading range here, bottoming tail bar. Next question is, of course, after that price action, will it break out? Well, we'll find out together. Um, Clears the highs, new highs. But one of the things to take note of yesterday that was, though everything's always interesting, but what's been happening here, which started down here. Let me just duplicate this, go further back. As moves begin, if you go back and look at, and you can see partly here, unfilled gap, there's a bunch of unfilled gaps. So after a correction and moves begin and traders, institutions are aggressive, things don't pull back so much. They build support. We call it creating support. Like this unfilled gap created a price void, and then there's nothing. Here's kind of a 1, 2, 3. Better looking 1, 2, 3 than up here. It's really not a 1, 2, 3. But anyway, another conversation. So as at the beginning of a move, traders get aggressive, and then as the move continues, they become less aggressive, meaning they want to see prices pull back to where they believe it's relatively safe. It's a high probability area to be buying, right? Minus support. And then they become aggressive again. That typically happens near the end where you get unfilled gaps. And over here on this day, this was the Fed day. It was like unfilled gap below 20 MA. Yeah, it's going there. And it didn't. It reversed right back up again. So we all know, there was that violent reaction to the Fed chair's comments, and interest rates moved and the dollar moved and markets tanked intraday and all that. And then a miraculous turnaround without even reaching any support or an unfilled gap. And then it gaps up. Okay, so, there's a gap up, gap down, gap up again, gappy. It's getting a little schizo there. And so yesterday, prices pull back, relatively nasty way, see on the 15-minute chart. And, when I say nasty, I mean vertical. And so now as it comes down, you're always going to have those that are looking to jump on board based on who knows what, some magical tool. And it often fails, and you get a new low, which reaches some support. And it did reach this pivot low, but it made a V bottom. So as prices come down vertically like this, you're typically going to get a retest or some kind of sideways price action or a shakeout. But yesterday it V'd and it started right up and took out this area here, and it just starts marching up. And so in part, that tells us that, traders are becoming too aggressive. And it's a concern when they basically communicates that there's really no fear. Well, there is fear. There's a fear of missing out, that this thing is going to go to the moon. And maybe it does, but typically what would happen is something similar to what happened here, and better seen, more clear, I should say, on the S&P 500, where it chopped sideways, but it was a wider range versus a tighter range. And wider range typically happened, as there's an increase in volatility in ranges where there's some apprehensive about whether things can continue. There's something creating uncertainty. And then we see that certainty comes back again. So these patterns and these emotions change from time to time based on whatever the influence is in the moment. And so yesterday, as I mentioned, it came all the way down here, V bottomed and moved up. Whereas, you can see this, and it's clear on the futures. Look, this comes down again real hard. And it didn't even come down to any significant support looking at the daily chart, but it comes down here where these bottoming tail bars are, and it makes a retest. So again, you see a little bit more of a, hey, yeah, it's climactic. It came down hard. It'll probably bounce. Scalpers come in there, and then you get the retest, and then that's typically where you get the bigger move. So pointing that out, that things are getting, it's jumping around here, which is a good thing. It's creating a trading range, and we'll see if it gets tight up here for a few more days. Then maybe, yeah, it's going to go higher. But looking under the hood, like when the title said, does under the hood data match? And we look at this information in a market that's making new all-time highs, and intraday, the majority of the day, the advancers minus decliners were down near minus 2,000. That's not a good sign. You put on a 30-minute chart, you can see, not only under zero, but down here, as you can see, even closer to minus 2,500. Now, does that mean you can't trade this intraday on the long side or trade some stock that's showing relative strength? Of course not. You can, but it's to put the bigger picture in perspective of what's happening here. I can look at NQ. I think you're talking to me, Alex, but we can look at NQ and compare. NQ. And here's the retest. It came down real hard. And this is a great pattern for a counter trend trade. Excellent. One of the best. W bottom, where you have a climactic move. Prices are trending down. That's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Right? Europe opens up. Germany opens up. Little M top and down and a blip. And then you get your capitulation move. And then you get a retest. And this is what we call a new low plus, or a W with a new low plus, where it breaks the prior low and it flips right back up again. And now you got a continuation pattern. So these pictures that we look at, that we give names to, like W bottoms and M tops and head and shoulders and all of that, they're displaying what people think and what their expectations are. And so we can see what V type of bottoms, that traders are very aggressive. Institutions are aggressive. And depending on where that happens, right, happening up here is a little bit more of a concern than, say, happening, if it happened on this day down here or over here where it's coming off of a low. So just put that in perspective, and, in your little toolbox of when you're looking at these pictures, what things are suggesting. All right. So, this was that wider range that I talked about, and the big Fed down day, bullish 180, and it breaks out. That's what it's supposed to do. Yesterday was a bottoming tail bar. Most times it's either going to just go, or you're going to get another inside day where it rattles around there. And if it stays above that wide range bar's low, stays within this range, and as we always talk about, staying opening and closing, staying in the upper 50% of that bar, that's positive. So big picture, right, what is it doing here? Probably, well, unless it breaks this low or breaks that high, right, we're going to stay in a trading range, black and white. And so if it breaks the low, it should come back up again, right? So it can break the low and come back up and form another bottoming tail bar. That continues to communicate to us that buyers are stepping up on the dip. And so there's the low. So where's it at right now as we compare the gap? It's in this little range that kind of looks like a head and shoulders top. And if it breaks this, it probably goes down here, and maybe it breaks the low, and then you've got the unfilled gap. And then we'll just see what happens intraday. As it comes down to the reference point, does it pop back up? What does it do? This is, we don't know, but we mark off our reference points of support and resistance when we use these pivots. Just SPX quickly. Nothing got hit yesterday. It was an inside day. Things tightened up. This came up 5. This came down 10. Still relatively close. Pick your spots. They aren't no-brainers. Other than that, some minor, almost insignificant support intraday. The Russell came down. Oh, what was I looking at yesterday? Was it the futures? No, I'm too paid. Something. Oh, I think it was, I don't know. Anyway, I have it marked off on my other computer what the reference point was there. Futures, you can see the same kind of little W bottom or bottoming action there going on, suggesting that, it's going to try and bounce back up again. So looking at this weekly chart, that bottoming tail bar on the weekly time frame is significant. So, and I think I mentioned this in some latter time as this thing skyrocketed up and came extended, and then the shallow pullback, and we talked about, hey, will it possibly end top? Well, now looking at where things are at, and it's only Tuesday, certainly don't look like any kind of M top's going to happen. But if it breaks this low, that's going to set up what we call a measured move lower. And these overlapping opens and closes is where we would project it would go to into that area. And you've got this 1800 right now. We're just waiting to see what's going to happen because, we just got these, pivot low trading range kind of action going on there, running in place. S&Ps starting to do that consolidation of just building a little new launching pad here. If it can consolidate for a while and then break higher, there's your W type of bottom. The Dow yesterday, was a weaker in the morning, but look how this thing came down, and it didn't even get to the support area. So move this up. And it's an area. Somewhere in here, you figured it was going to try and buyers would step up, as it come down vertically, and then this is yesterday. Just coming down. And I think there was a little blip in here. This is a 15-minute chart, but you can see how it comes down and V's and just starts moving right back up again. Bitcoin, I don't know. If this was above, if this had broke out, say like this one up here and was forming this kind of wedge, we'd be thinking it would go up. But here it broke down, and it's kind of a strange kind of a pattern, meaning you got a bullish pattern after a breakdown. I don't know. I'm saying if it gets above here, it could fly. Sure. I mean, here's resistance, and the way it came down, it would be a bit surprising, if it does get through here. Here's 4,400. Got those pivots there. Just taking a step back to look further to the left, and you can see why. So if it clears here, it enters with what we call the void. There's no resistance. So set an alert. We'll see what happens there. Our usual other markets we look at, transports, we're an inside day, just flip-flopping back and forth, doing nothing. We all know what happened with interest rates, ripping up here, and it stopped at resistance. Which way is it going to go? Which way is the dollar going to go? Look at this. You could see that, inversely. These are bond prices. These are interest rates. So 10-year futures, 10-year interest rates. And you see, why we look at this. Interest rates going down, markets go up. Now interest rates are stabilized within a trading range at an area of major support. Again, this would actually be up here, right? This is that split or dividend, whatever it was. you'd have to drag all of this down here. And so this would be up above that area. It's had a heck of a rally. And, as these interest rates have stabilized and, actually able to grind higher, this was this grinding that was going on. As you can see, interest rates there, with my cursor moving back and forth, the markets chopped sideways. And then as they started to roll back over again, market rallied again. And so now we've got the threat, and it's a threat of, will these interest rates pop above this 4.2, or the dollar keep going up, and this 5,000 area here. I think if this breaks above here, which everyone needs to have an alert and pay attention to, the dollar goes up, this goes up. You see the inverse relationship. Most likely it's going to make an about face trip down here to 4,900 or below. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, I mean, pretty clear, black and white. Here's a technology sector, which has been showing some relative weakness. You see the S&P's up, and this is kind of doing nothing. Back here, and yeah, I mean, you know what to look for. And look at, besides that AD line, if you start looking at the percentage of stocks below, say, a 40 MA, 50 MA, whatever, there's a lot of deterioration going on under the hood. So all time highs, and under the hood, it's like broken leg. So all yours, Dan.
Broken leg. All right, there. Switch the mic. What are you talking about a broken leg for? I got a couple earnings, couple gappers, couple bullish setups from yesterday. Some of those alarms are going off for me. The caution internals were reviewed, but we'll trade with one eye out the door. But this was one of them right now. My up alarm went off. Stalled. That is a beautiful. We actually bought this 1, 2, 3, 4. Had a nice little run there, but now it's a new setup. Clack alarm. So I said, my alarm went off at 6:20. So if you can get filled for third lot on that, go daddy was on my list. Beautiful consolidation and a strong uptrend. So this is a nice visual aid. It got really extended here. Look, 20, 50, 200. Downside shakeout, back up, flat 20 into the rising 20. That you could take the candles off. And by definition, the message is that's a bullish consolidation after a huge move and a strong uptrend. I had MDB alarm go off. We have a put spread on this, getting a nice gap up. So let me put a new alarm. The new low alarm, 438 and 455. Good. Let's go up here to earnings. Those are all my alarms. Pelletier, I think Sam did $15 naked puts in the earnings gap. That's a monster gap. That's a good job, Sam. I don't see anything to do with it now. iTub 670. I like my other longs better. Just delete it. Coher gap's too big. That's a monster gap up. I'd be selling if I were in it. Chug 870. Gap down. No pattern though. I am better. Muff G gapping down, extended, ADR, no interest, SIM getting whacked. $42. These prior lows will come back. NXPI. I was looking at the $200 puts yesterday, just because semis have been so strong, but not enough juice coming in. But that's of interest. This thing, $52 getting whacked. Now let's see what that does. CHX gapping up $27. That would be a put spread under yesterday's low, 5-minute high. Rambus actually is getting whacked, and this is a semiconductor. So let's, I don't know, let's just see what it does. I have no idea. Rambus. SPG, Simon Property, a REIT, no pattern. VeriSign, bullish gap. I would love this as a gap if it were gapping right here to 46.80. But gap's too big for me. Yeah, Rambus was an amazing stock to trade in the internet days, late 90s. Absolutely. Now this was a closing breakout, gapping up. It's bullish. Let's watch a pullback. KRC opening flat. Let's set an alarm at 35. I already got one, 34.8. All right, that's good enough. CCK 76. Wow. That's a big old gap. I'm gonna put that in a window. CC, that's a big old gap down, man. AMKR 3060. We'll come back. Wow. This is gapping down, extended 180. Wow, that's a big gap down. There's a couple big down gappers here. ACM would have been a good, what's today, Tuesday? Would have been good over Monday's, Friday's high. I don't see any prints though. We'll come back. Sloppy pattern, delete. Glad. It's a sloppy buy setup. Daily, weekly buy setup. We'll come back. You know, what I do here is delete the ones I have no interest in. The tier ones I put in a 5-minute window. And then there's some I need to see what they do in the first 30 minutes, and then I'll either delete them or set new alarms. This was a breakdown. I don't see any prints though. And we do this a lot in the green room. We say, okay, well, what would interest you for this to get? Because I have no idea unless I look at a level one, which I didn't do. And that's not a great example because even over Friday's high, there's no void. But, you know, I think I'd rather a gap down here to 66 and then 30-minute high. Sky. Sky, I like. I have Lily on the other. Well, this FN's getting whacked. Sky. I like this. This could be a beautiful 30-minute high. Now look at Toyota. Toyota is definitely leading the pack in the electric hybrid space, I think. Now Lily I posted as a potential gap and crap, 30-minute low call spread. Things that go vertical into earnings. And now you're gapping up. What is that, $28? So, typically a short-term exhaustion gap if it can't get going. Lynn 412, there's a pro gap. Well, see, closed as a breakdown. Now it's gapping over that. That's bullish. Put that in the window. Lynn. Bravo Papa, oil, gap on top of the range. FI, it's up a lot, gap in 140. That's a call spread idea. 15-minute low. KKR, strong daily, weekly, monthly. Car would have been a great put spread. Had it, held the gap up. Spot, a spot earnings? I guess so. Yeah. Excessive gap though, gapping up 20 bucks. Nothing to do. CNC, I said in the green room, if this opens flat, sell setup. That looks like it is, down a little bit. 73.70. So this is a definite short watch. I'm out of thumbnails already. I'm watching so many. So if one of you want to watch CNC for a short for us, I don't see many prints. I see one up here at 169. That's a bullish gap, bullish daily, weekly, monthly. AME looks fantastic. Wow, I'm watching a lot of things here that are interesting today. 440, no pattern. Gapping down a little, call spread, GEHC 77, gaps too big. Oh, that's General Electric, their new spinoff healthcare thing. XYL, we'll come back. DD, I said yesterday, things that are climos like this into earnings. I was really tempted to sell the 59 puts into earnings. Would have worked. Weight Watchers. I don't see any prints. Tango Whiskey, no pattern. Checkpoint was down a lot. Look, now it's recovered. We'll come back. I don't see a gap. J140. So watch your pullback. MVT flat, no pattern. All right, that's it with earnings. JWN. I have an alarm at 1840. It's a buy setup, potent reversal, deep retracement to the 50. And so you just don't expect a new high is all, but it's still very tradable. Sam, your avatar, I got an alarm at 2380. IQV was a potential short. I have an alarm, but now it's up. All right, your avatar alarm just went off. Sky, oh, 75.50. So that gap messed it up. Avatar, okay, see it had one little print there, now it's getting smacked down. So that's a great, reason why you want to really trade through it. Etsy, I had a low alarm. We have a half lot of a put spread. Let me just reset the alarm. SMCI is out of control. I'm watching that when the rocket runs out of steam. Yeah. All right, stay Lily right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, I wouldn't do anything right now. But you know, it's not a gap and go, that's for darn sure. Arcade kilo low alarm. Let's move stop 5-minute low. Actually, 15-minute low. I capped under the stop. All right, stilled. I'm stilled. Looks fantastic. Let's see what it does here in the opening session. So Greg, some of these I know we're both a little gun shy on new longs, but there's some good patterns here. Still GoDaddy.
Half size.
All right. And then stop, I guess, last week's low. Let's buy a 5 minute high just so we don't get wigged into, 932 little pop. And that's stalled. Let's buy a 30 minute high in this.